Assalamu alaikum students. Today our topic is the rich diversity of flora and fauna. First of all, we are discussing about the rich diversity. Rich diversity mean a lot of species, and the flora mean plants, and the fauna mean animals. First of all, understanding the flora and fauna, and flora refer to plant life and fauna refer to animal life. Both are crucial to maintain the balanced ecosystem and supporting human life. It's mean for our ecosystem, both flora and fauna, both are playing important role in the maintenance of the ecosystem. Next is diverse ecosystem. Ecosystem like a forest, desert, wetlands, and the oceans host unique combination of the flora and the fauna, each adapted to their specific environment. When we are discussing about the forest, forests have a lot of species of plant that they are mesophytes, and they all are the terrestrial plants. And when we are discussing about the deserts, and deserts have the xerophytic plants, and they having the plants, they are succulents, they store their water and survive in the desert ecosystem. And when we are discussing about the wetlands, wetlands have the plant that they are halophytes, and they have ability to survive in the saline water. And the oceans host the unique combination of flora, and because they when we are discussing about the ocean, the belt of the oceans having the mangroves, that they all the plants are different in the different habitat, and also that the fauna, because the animals that they survive in their particular ecosystem, their species are different. The animals they are live in the desert, they have ability to survive without water in various days, for various days. And when we are discussing about the uh, uh, other animals that they are living in the forest, they are different with the animals that they are living in the desert, and each adapted to their specific environment. It means that every ecosystem has their own flora and fauna. Next, that is the forest ecosystem. Forests include the tropical rainforest and the temperate forest, are the home to vast array of the plants like trees, shrubs, and the animals like birds and the mammals. In the forest ecosystem, they have their own trees, shrubs, and herbs, and they have their own birds and the mammals that they are living in the terrestrial ecosystem or the forest ecosystem. That is the desert ecosystem. Desert features hardly plants such as the cactus and the resilience animals like a camel, both adapted to survive in their extreme arid condition. In all desert area, they having the xerophyte plant. They are like a cactus, succulents plants. They have their thick leaves and they store their water, and also like that animal that they survive in the desert like a camel, and they are easily survive in the desert. When we are discussing about animals, you cannot see the buffaloes in desert because they are the water loving animal, and they cannot survive in the desert ecosystem. So the camels, they are easily walk in the sand and the desert, so they have adopted their environment in the desert ecosystem. Next, that is the wetland ecosystem. Wetland ecosystems such as the marshes and the swamps support the diverse species like water lilies, and the amphibians play a vital role in the water purification and the flood control. When we are discussing about the wetlands, they are the lands they having water and they having the marshy places, and in these land there are also present the carnivorous plants like a picture plant, the Venus flytrap. This type of plants are present in these areas, and they having the water lilies and the different type of the amphibians, and they that lands also having the mangroves, and they play the vital role in the water purification and the flood control. Next, that is the ocean ecosystem. Oceans from the coral reef to the deep sea trenches are the teeming with the marine life, including the algae, fish, and the marine animals. And the oceans ecosystem have their another biggest ecosystem, and they having a lot of species of the animals and the fishes and the marine mammals and the many plant species like algae and that plants that they are in ocean. There are various different species that are undiscovered today, and there are a lot of fishes and the coral reefs, pearls, and there is an other world in the ocean ecosystem. Conserve conservation effort. When we are discussing about the conservation, and the conservation is an essential to protect the endangered species and the habitat. There are a lot of animals and the plant species that they are present in the endangered species. Those species that they are in danger, and there are forest area that habitat is endangered, because if for cutting off the forest for the urbanization, they disturb the habitat of many living organisms. So it's essential to conserve the specific habitat of the different species, and also conserve the endangered species that they are present in the endangered list, like they are also animals and also plants. Successful program having saved to the species like a giant panda and the bald eagle. There are a lot of animals and the plants that they are endangered in specific area. It's need to conserve, and there are a lot of methods to conserve the specific species. Like when we are discussing about the plants to form the national parks and the botanical gardens, and there are a lot of method like conservation of the natural ecosystem and conserve the plant habitats, and same as the for the animals to create the zoological gardens, and they conserve the specific animal species that they are present in the endangered list, and they breed and to create their offsprings to survive in their future, and their species become spread and they cannot become extinct. Next, that is the human impact on the flora and fauna. There are all affected due to the human activities, like we want urbanization, we want industrialization, and all this system effect on the flora and fauna. When we are discussing about the COVID time period, there is the time on this time there are environment become clean due the closing of the industries and the transport. It's mean that all of the destruction and the disturbance that are present in the ecosystem is caused by the human, and it's need to be change in our behavior to protect our environment. There the human activities such as the deforestation, pollution, climate change threaten biodiversity, leading to habitat loss and the species extinction. Next, that is the conclusion and the call to action. Flora and fauna are the vital for the ecosystem health and the human well-being. Protecting the biodiversity requires the collective efforts for the individual and the community. It's not just a responsibility of the government and the community, it's also the responsibility of an individual to become help to conserve the flora and fauna, and don't disturb the ecosystem and deforestation and the cutting of the trees, cutting of the plants for their personal benefit, like urbanizations and formation of the societies, and there are a lot of things to disturb for industrialization to and they disturb the natural ecosystem. And this is today all about the flora and fauna, biodiversity, and it's I hope so this is more interesting lecture for you, and thank you, keep watching, and Allah Hafiz.